It's so easy to say magic is an art form, but what does that really mean?
This is Abhay. He was about to quit magic.
I was very inspired after reading your book.
What Abhay doesn't know is that I was about to quit magic too. This conversation would inspire me to create something that would change the world of magic forever. Hi, I'm Ananya George, and this is the story of how one Zoom call decided the fate of a dying art form. Abhay and I met through a moderately famous magician friend.
Kuwewe.
You fooled us.
And that's when this insane story arc began with a simple text in May. Have you ever thought about what it is about magic that you like or enjoy? Why do we do it? This was very strange timing because if you don't know the story, I quit everything to pursue magic as a career. But the city I found myself in isn't very lucrative for magic.
In Dubai.
I mean, in New York, I could take over these spaces and create experimental, artsy magic shows that people would pay ticket price for. But here in Dubai, nobody cares. So I put all of my efforts into YouTube, because that was the only way I could continue making the artwork I enjoy while hopefully getting paid for it. Needless to say, when Abhay reached out, I wasn't really in the best place. I know why I do it. Why do you do it? Abhay's responses mirrored what I was feeling at the time about my own relationship with magic. The sense of feeling paralyzed because of the contradiction between the work you want to create versus the world kind of pushing back against it. Overall, making everything you do feel meaningless. But you see, my problems were more career and world related, which are things I have very little to no control over. But Abhay's problems were magic related. Problems that I had faced myself years ago and had overcome them when I was exactly where Abhay was. And that problem was the death of magic as an art form. So why is magic dying?
To this day, we are promoting the guy with the top hat.
He's absolutely right. I mean, just look at how magicians are portrayed in popular culture.
Place these back into the pack. Just pop it back in, that's it.
But why?
We're still very much about innovation in terms of method, which is a very good type of innovation. But we're not talking about the presentation bit. We're not talking about what we're saying.
I'm gonna take that 10, shuffle it into the deck.
If I want your card, I just snap the fingers and it will rise
To the top.
Our presentations would just be us narrating literally what the spectator can see.
And I'm gonna shuffle them together.
Place the cards here, place your other hand on top.
Except for one card in the middle is the King of Clubs.
Naturally, the world thinks this is all that magic has to offer.
No, the magnificent Dr. Presto is not performing tonight. Magic is always lame.
But the side of magic that people like Abhay and I love couldn't be more different.
It was a very different kind of magic. He takes on this persona of a person with Alzheimer's, and he's doing the same tricks. The ball is removed from the cup, but because he has Alzheimer's, the ball's back under the cup. I was beginning to be exposed to the idea of communication in magic, and magic as an art form. What does that really mean? What form does that take? Why is it art? What is art? All of these questions began really bothering me to an extent. I found out about the supernatural hangover. You were talking about these things. You had that really nice video where the secret is only 10%. You proved, almost like a mathematics proof. This is what happens when you actually try and put a little bit of yourself into it. So you were talking about that and you were addressing those questions that I was coming up with. Unfortunately, to this day, when I'm asked to perform, I am doing my YouTube Miss Mag when I was 8 years old magic. And I felt that you were someone who could really help me, who helped inspire me in that regard.
I got so lost in being broke that I didn't realize that this work actually mattered. So this simple act of him reaching out prevented me from making a mistake I would have regretted. I thought it was about time that I do the same for him.
What part about my magic is art? How much of Abhay is really in this magic? Because this is something I pulled off YouTube.
Yeah.
So, and I don't want to stop performing these effects, but at the same time, I want them to be communicative. That's the paralysis I'm facing right now.
The mistake that Abhay is making isn't thinking that magic loses its appeal once you add a story. The truth is, magic can be appealing with the right approach. Take this video I made in April, for example. On the surface, it's just me performing a straitjacket escape, but the comments were about the overall storyline and message behind the escape. Now, have I failed as a magician? That's rhetorical. Do not answer that. Don't answer that. That's a rhetorical question. The point is, I didn't make that video because I wanted to show you that, look, I can escape from a straitjacket. I made it to make you feel what I felt as somebody who got diagnosed with autism as an adult. And I visualized that through a magic trick. I've done the same thing with sculpture and my stage work, and every time audiences engage with the stories, not just the tricks. But here's the problem. Nobody teaches you how to create magic like that. And that's exactly what I needed to do with Abhay. There are two ways to approach this. The first way to approach it is like, okay, I have this trick. How do I make it into something more meaningful? I'm not that big a fan of that pipeline. It like pigeonholes you. The way that I kind of want to like see if you're up for it is the other way around, which is, this is what I want to say. Can I look into my repertoire of stuff and find a way to use that in order to communicate what I'm trying to communicate?
Absolutely. I am 100% down for that.
What do you want to say?
Any message that resonates deep within me,
Yeah.
only the strong survive. Because when I came to the United States from India, I was faced with a lot of challenges.
I think we have a show here.
You think so?
I think we have a show here, yeah. At this point, I wasn't really sure if Abhay could keep up with this process. What do you want to use as your opener?
Is this a magic question?
I mean, after all, I've spent years putting this together. If you were giving a TED Talk, for example, and you had to talk about the immigrant experience, out of these points that we've listed out, what would you likely start off with?
Ooh, tough question.
And at that point, I was like, screw it. Let's push him off the deep end and we'll figure it out from there.
I want to elicit helplessness. When does someone feels helpless? When they are unable to do something they want to do.
Great, now you're deconstructing this trick. This is great.
3-card mon? No. And if instead of all of that Las Vegas crap, if I were to just do this, so let's say they say the ace is here, I snap here and I snap here, and now the ace is over here, this instantly feels more like a magic trick.
Give me 1 second. A washer.
Oh my god.
What do you pick first?
Oh, shoot.
Do you feel helpless? Do you feel frustrated? The second Abhay rejected my trick suggestion,
Pile of copper and silver coins.
that's good. All mixed up like oil and water.
All mixed
style.
up.
I knew that he was ready.
The uncovering of this.
And that's when I pushed him further by zooming out on this tiny sentence that's been ringing around in his head to try and see what that really means to him. Which of these three resonate with you the strongest?
18-year-old Abhay next 25-year-old Abhay.
And at that exact moment, I knew Abhay's gonna be alright. But this was just one person. If we had to make a change on the grander scale of magic, what would that look like? And that's when I received an email from my friends over at Genie Magazine. They asked me if I wanted to sell any tricks at the biggest magic convention in America. Now, you know this. I'm against selling tricks because it creates more people like Abhay.
Hello again, everybody. Okay, this is a pretty cool beginner's card trick.
People who are highly skilled but don't know how to use that for their own expression.
Only the strong survive.
Inspired by my conversations with him, I've been secretly putting together a guide. I sat down to write a book, Lecture Notes by an Unknown George, but nobody asked me to lecture. Something that magic institutions have had the ability to do for years, but have never done.
I've published.
It ended up becoming this, a detailed account of how to create magic that expresses your feelings.
I was very inspired after reading your book.
After weeks of back and forth and figuring out logistics, I received this video from our moderately famous mutual friend.
Come up and quick video of this?
Sure.
Oh, wow.
Turns out there are way more people out there with the exact same problems as Uphead. Because over the course of 3 days, we ended up selling the entire stock. So I decided to expand on this by starting a whole new Patreon tier where magicians can hire me to do the exact same thing that I did with Uphead. You feel frustrated? Again, magic institutions could have been doing this for years, but instead of helping their community, they're bringing them closer to this
Area Monk, ladies and gentlemen.
and not this. Now, I've done everything I could do so far, but ultimately, the future of magic is in your hands. So the real question is, what are you going to do with it? My name's Ananya George. Thanks for watching.